Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of the Grandstand here on the Hot Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, Eric the Hot Patriot, and for today's episode, we're going to talk about Trump and Zelensky a little bit and the whole White House meeting between them, and I guess European leaders were also there too, which is fucking stupid because fuck all those people at this point, honestly. I'm also going to give an update to the old house and my future living situation. So, let's start with that, actually, the whole thing. So, basically, for those who don't know, I'm going to go into like a little bit of backstory right now. A little over a week ago, it would have been 8 days specifically, because it would have been a week ago Sunday. I was out with my cousin. We were at my aunt's place fishing, and then we had gone to a local grocery store for me to pick up some. It was like a local grocery store, farmers market place. So I could pick up a few things there, is what it was. And we ended up, he mentioned something about, hey, let's, stop by the old house because, Steve told me that we can go anytime we want, basically, as long as he's there. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I was still under the assumption that, there was a call that had been made or whatever the case be to, like, confirm that, like, it's cool for us to be there or whatever. But apparently that call was never made, I guess. And so we ended up going. Unbeknownst to me, there was, no communication between these two dudes, my cousin Billy and the Steve dude that bought the place. And just to be clear, those are not their real names, but for safety's sake, that's what they're going to be called today. Is what it is. Just because I'm not going to dox my family is what it is, or the people that bought the place is what it is there. So, but yeah. So anyway, basically, it was us just basically showing up after we'd stopped at the grocery store place. There's what it was. And then this dude basically having like a full-blown meltdown at us for some weird reason. I have no idea why. He just kind of freaked out and was like, no, can't, don't pictures, get out of here, all stuff like that. That's what it is. And it's like, Jesus, dude, like, what the fuck's your problem? So yeah, it was just a really weird interaction in general. And then I was talking to my cousin here a little bit ago, and he told me that apparently since then, they have not had any interaction at all between the two of them now. So, and I guess the guy that was our realtor, my cousin was talking to that dude about it. He's like, yeah, man, just let it go. Let it, kind of fizzle out, if you will, and see if the dude contacts you at some point in the future or whatever then. So, I don't know. It's just a really weird situation all the way around. And then now my understanding is that the reason that the whole thing happened with the house itself and having those issues where it like basically fried the box is what it is. It wasn't so much so that it was completely on the power company that was behind the box and like the wiring or whatever being fucked up. What it is. It was that was also apparently the guy this Steve guy who bought the house. It was him actually taking off a bunch of the siding and stuff like that. So that like contributed to it, I guess is what it is. And I'm kind of wondering if maybe that's what it is now, is that he's pissed because he found out that like he's going to be on the hook for all that shit or whatever. And I could totally see that being the like precursor to why he like fucking flipped out on my cousin like he did about a week ago or so. So like to me that would actually make sense, and it would like bring about like at least some rationale behind it and stuff like that of why, he don't want us there, and like he's just so stressed with it or whatever, so who knows. But at the same time, like, I've been thinking about it this entire week, and it did piss me off quite a bit actually, because like after the fact, because for those who don't know, like with the autism and stuff, at least my version of it anyway, I like do like this weird like psychoanalyzing of stuff and just like think back on it too much and like go over like different things like over and over again, basically is what it is there. And so what ends up happening is I put myself into like this mindset of like, okay, how different could this have gone, kind of thing is what it is. And then the more I thought about it this past week, the anger I got actually, because the guy who bought the place was essentially trying to deny my family's existence on that property when my family was the second people who owned that ever. The people who originally owned it only owned it for about 4 to 5 years when it was built. and then it became my family's property for almost a fucking century. Like, it was over 75 years that my family was at that property. And the fact that there's like over 3/4 of a century of my family's legacy on that property, and this fucking cocksucker is trying to act like, oh no, fuck you, like that doesn't matter anymore. It's like, fuck you, dude. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have that goddamn property, so you can go eat my ass, bitch. So, yeah, I'm pretty livid about the whole thing, dude. So, and I feel like the reason I'm willing to come out and say this stuff now is what it is because there's no way I'm ever going to live on that property ever again, unless I would be able to, like, hit the lottery and just, like, buy it out from him is what it is then. Just, it would be the whole acreage at that point, too. And, it's whatever at that point. But, yeah, it's like, I don't know. It pisses me off, though, is what it is, because, like, the guy, it's like essentially the way I feel about it is this dude's, like, trying to deny my existence at all is what it is. And it's not cool, man, because I could have easily contested that will. Like, made sure that property was never being able to be sold and stuff like that. Hell, I could have squatted on my fucking property if I wanted to for, like, years to come is what it is now, because, honestly, like, if I had the money to pay off the property tax on it, then it could have been in my name, really, is what it is, and nobody could have done a damn thing about it at that point. And truthfully, like, the way Ohio's laws work, like, I'm pretty sure I could have taken that to court and basically got the property in my fucking name at that point then. Now, granted, I would have to then, have this whole, like, mortgage and loan and stuff over my head is what it is there for everybody and have to deal with that shit. But, like, at the same time, I'm pretty sure that could have been written off at some point down the line, so who knows. But, yeah, like I said, it's fucking irritating, and it just never needed to happen, basically, is what it is. And, like, the fact that, like, this dude's basically trying to act like king shit now or whatever, and it's like, it's fucked up, man. Like, it's not cool, and I don't know. Like, it just, I really do think it's one of those situations where, and I've talked about this before ad nauseum, where it's, you basically have, like, multiple sides to a person, and it's like I think I want to say it was the guy that I used to hang out with that was the 2A dude. It was him telling me this years ago, and it was basically how there is, like, 3 or 4 sides to a person, or I forget how you put it. It's like 3 or 4 faces or something like that's what it is, where it's like your public face, your private face, your friends and family's face, and then like the real you, I think is what it is, or something. So it's like how you are with your friends and family, how you are with your loved ones, like your, like, partner or whatever it is at the house or whatever, and then how you are in public, and then how you really are is what it is. And for some people, or a lot of people even, like, all those things are the same, really, is what it is, or at least similar is what it is there. Versus some people, it changes depending on who they are, where they are, who they're with, or whatever it is. So whereas me, like, I'm pretty much, I would say what you guys see on here is probably about 87% of who I really am is what it is. And the other 13% is obviously stuff I'm going to keep private to myself is what it is. So, but yeah, with the exception of that, like, I would say about 87 to 90% split in there is what you guys actually see as the real me is what it is right now. So, and that's the thing. And I think if a lot more people were more genuine like that, it would be, a whole different story entirely with our society right now. But unfortunately, so many people just want to be, hiding the truth or doing whatever is what it is. And yeah, it's fucked up, man. And even my cousin was saying about, like, the dude who bought the place and, like, how it was him letting my cousin and his son basically hunt on the guy's old property and stuff like that. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, but that was, like, probably a year ago now, dude. So it's like things change a lot in that time period, and I think maybe that's what it is. And like he was saying, maybe it was something where Steve had not realized, like, it was going to be that much work or something, and who knows? It could have been a million things. And I could see, like, if somebody's angry because you're taking photos of, like, like them on a property. But like the fact of the matter was, it's like, no, dude, I'm just taking like a couple shots of what the house looks like now is what it is, which in all actuality, like I'm legally in the right to do that's what it is, dude. And so is anybody else for that matter. Like as long as they're, I guess technically, in my case, I was on like in the driveway or whatever. But the problem with that property is there's no place to even like park on the road or anything like that. So you have to either go to somebody's driveway or you're like not going to be able to be on the property at all. You're not going to be able to like be there at all without risking somebody like rolling through and hitting your vehicle behind or something. Like that's what it is. So it's a whole thing. But yeah, the entire point is though, like we had just driven past and I like, took like 10, 12, 15 shots or whatever of the house. It would have been fine. Like I would have been legally in the right to do that, obviously. And that's kind of what I did after we had left. I just took a bunch of shots of the property after the fact. Was what it is then. Like as we were pulling out, was what it was then. So, and it was literally sent to my sister, is what it was, dude. And that's the thing. Like the dude even knew that. Like we even talked about that. Like before I even was like putting my name on the thing to sell the property to this dude was like, hey, like, is it cool if I come back at some point and take like some updated shots of the house or whatever? And he was like, yeah. So I don't know, like the whole thing just feels fucked up is what it is. And like I said, it just really, it really does bother me quite a bit because it feels like it's just like kind of like this weird like two-faced shift or something of like, this is how the guy was when he was buying the shit from us versus this is how he really is now or whatever kind of situation. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to try to let this go and let it kind of, work itself out if that be the case. But I don't know. It just feels kind of fucked up to me is what it is, man. And it does bother me. It does bother me from the aspect of, hey, like, what's the deal, bro? Kind of thing. There's what it is. Like, I thought we were cool here. So, and that's what's even more fucked up, I think, is the fact that, like, my cousin, when we were talking, he said he had gone, I thought he originally told me Tuesday before that, but I think he said it was Thursday now of that previous week. So it would have been like, today's Monday. So like 11 days ago is the way he was talking about it, what he would have been over there is what it is. And he had just showed up then, and the guy was cool, and they had apparently talked for like 45 minutes to an hour is what it was. About stuff like family related things and like I guess it was like baseball or softball tryouts and stuff like that and like just all kinds of different stuff. So it's like, yeah, to see that shift within like a 3-day time span is kind of weird is what it is. So like I said, the only thing I could think is it had to be something where it was maybe it was the power company contacting him like that Saturday or even that Sunday morning and being like, yeah, dude, sorry, we figured out that like you did something, now you're SOL or whatever it is there. So who knows? It could have been a million things, honestly. But yeah, it just feels, I don't know. Like it's like something about it just feels like very like just kind of, it rubs you the wrong way for sure. Is the way I'll say it best. And it does bother me quite a bit actually. And it's like, like Tim, and like I said, from my aspect of the things, like it feels like this man is trying to deny my existence and what it is there, my family's existence on that property when. If it wasn't for me and my family, like he would not own that property today is what it is. So like it really is kind of fucked up, honestly, dude. And like I'm thinking to myself, like, hey, should we have actually just sold this to someone else is what it is now? So I don't know. It's hard to say anymore, but it's one of those situations of like coulda, woulda, shoulda, and I feel like maybe we should have like tried to. And I tried to tell my sister about it. I was like, yeah, we should try to wait or whatever. But unfortunately, she didn't have the funds to, keep funding me living there. Basically, is what it is. But I think if I had known that I was going to get my disability check, I would have worked something out to where I could have got like the full check, obviously, and then it just put that money towards paying on the house is what it is, and then try to refinance or something. That's what it is because. I feel like even now, like, I don't know, like, I feel like we could have definitely got, like, way, especially in this economy now, like, I feel like we could have got at least another, probably 100,000 at least out of that place, because, like, I think we got way undercut on the price tag of that place, dude, because really that was, like, I think that property was essentially like $250,000 or more, and probably close to, like, 400,000, I'm thinking, honestly, with, like, the land that was on it, and, like, the possibility and everything like that. plus the mineral rights that came with it. And yeah, we got, I'm not going to say how much we got paid for it, but we got like way under what it should have gone for. And it pisses me off that we had to do that. And I got basically, like, I don't know, I feel like I get kind of hoodwinked by my family is what it is in some aspects of things, because it was basically being kind of bullied into like signing is what it is. So I don't know, like I wish if I could go back, honestly, I would have just talked my cousin into buying the place or something like that, and then just, you know, because we even talked about that briefly is what it is a couple times about how like him just buying the place out or whatever the case be, and then just, you know, having me live on it or whatever then as like a caretaker type of person or whatever. So I don't know, maybe that's what we should have done. Just sucks, man. I think the thing that pisses me off the most is knowing I never got a chance to really hunt that place where, like, I know there was like so many deer and rabbits and stuff on there and just all kinds of game. And yeah, not having that ability to do that now, and really not having the ability to just go out back and just, like, you know, fire off a couple of rounds into the dirt and stuff like that was a nice thing back in the day to be able to do. Because I know that my skill set is going bad because of that is what it is for hunting and whatnot now, and being able to have like firearms proficiency now is what it is, because it's been more than a year since I've actually been, you know, doing range stuff now is what it is. So they're pretty close to a year anyway. I think it was like September of last year is the last time I really, you know, got out there and did like any kind of drill or anything like that is what it is. So, and you can only do so much dry firing, obviously, before it just gets old. So, I don't know. It just kind of, like I said, just kind of rubs me the wrong way in a bunch of different ways is what it is. And I feel like I said, I think we just got kind of messed around, or I don't know. I think it feels like we just got taken, basically, I guess is what I'd say. And only to then be, you know, like I said, given the shaft like that, basically. So, which, I don't know, maybe they'll figure it out. Maybe everybody will figure it out. Maybe this whole thing, maybe I'm just, you know, throwing too much thought into it or whatever the case be. I think I'm just angry in general is what it is right now. Mostly these fucking trains around this place is what it is. I swear to God, man, like every fucking day anymore. I did figure out, it seems like the freight trains do have like a weird schedule though. Here's what it is, because when I was paying attention to the neighbor kid Mickey, what he said the other day to me about how it seems like there's like a 4 a.m. one or whatever, I noticed this morning, and then I was also paying attention to it on Saturday night into Sunday morning, as what it is too, because I work at the same time as what it is there, is that it's anywhere between like 3:55 and like 4:10 that there's a train that'll come through on like one of these tracks. I think it's a track over here is what it is on this side. So I'm not sure if that's like southwest, northwest, southeast, south, or some other like east-west area or whatever it is there. So yeah, I'm not sure if it's like east, south, north, or west that way, but it's whatever track is over that way. I think there's one that comes around 4 a.m. is what it is, give or take. So, but yeah, I know I can't deal with that shit any longer is what it is. And I have for this lease right now is what it is, dude. So I definitely got to find someplace else to live long term is what it is, because otherwise I'm going to go psychotic is what it'll be there. Like, I can tell you that right now, and I'm guaranteeing that would happen, honestly. Where I would just fucking flip out and go nuts, basically. So, I mean, the fact that I now have noise-canceling headphones that I potentially could wear just to sleep anymore, like, that should tell you how bad it is right now. So, that was one thing I got yesterday I didn't talk about, which specifically those were going to be for truck and tractor poles at the end of the month here, but then it's also just to have is like, if I can fall asleep with them on, I'm not sure if I can or not, because I don't really want to mess my ears up, obviously, but at the same time, if it's like that's the only way you can sleep because they're trains rolling through in the middle of the night or whatever, like, you gotta do what you gotta do, basically. So, I don't know. It's just, like I said, just kind of frustrating, irritating, etc. So, it sucks that it went down the way it did, too. And like I was telling my cousin, though, I think it could easily just be a situation, too, where it was, even though the dude told you to come over whenever, like, maybe he still meant for you to call, who knows? But, like, because I even told my cousin that, I was like, yeah, I assumed that I was under the impression that you had already, like, called or texted him that day, and, like, it was all cool for us to come over then or whatever. And he was like, no, he just told me to come over. So, whenever I felt like it, and I'm just like, oh, okay. So, I don't know. It's just weird. Like I said, maybe the guy was doing some shady shit on the property he wasn't supposed to be doing there is what it is, like some illegal repairs or something like that, without, like, government permits and stuff like that or something is what it is there. But I feel like a lot of people do that stuff, so who knows. But, and again, it could have been a million reasons. It could have been just us not knowing what was going on there is what it is. It could have been something where he's having trouble getting his kids into the school system here is what it is or something, or, 1,000 other things, basically. So, and then even my cousin mentioned maybe it was his wife didn't want us there is what it was. So, because my understanding was it was apparently just the two of them on Thursday, but then she was there that Sunday doing something on the fence that they had erected. I'm not sure if she was trying to create like a door for it or what it was, but I assume she wasn't trying to do that because there's not really a door there is what it is yet. So, like, my assumption would be that that's what she was working on, but who knows? But yeah, it's just like, I don't know. And I've seen that before with like some women and stuff like that, where they're just like, oh yeah, don't be here, whatever kind of thing is what it is, or why are they here, whatever case be. But I mean, the thing is, like, and the fact of the matter was, it was like legitimately like, we were there for like a 5-minute stop is what it is. So I don't know, like, really what the issue would have been there, like, it's just whatever. So, I don't know. Like I said, maybe just people wanting to have too much privacy is what it is, and then just kind of whatevering about it and stuff. But yeah, like, as far as I know, like, I was given, like, as we were selling the place to this dude, like, I was basically being given permission to come back there and, like, take photos of the progress at some point then, just to show the difference. Because I even said that to him. I was like, hey, you cool with me coming back here so I can, send these to my siblings at some point? And he's like, yeah. So, I don't know. Like, it just seems very fucked up in general. And I don't know. Like, it's one of those things that, like, it can get to you the point where, like, what could have been a friendship or, like, a companionship, or whatever the case be, is now, like, completely out the window is what it is there. So, and then, of course, I would never want this dude as my landlord is what it is then, just because of that exact thing is what it is then. So, like, there's that then, obviously. So, it's the whole thing there is what it is. So, yeah, it's like, I think right now it's just going to be hopefully finding some other place that's around the same price as this place and being able to, at that point, obviously have, like, the money from disability checks, and so it'll be to, like, show them, like, hey, here's the, money I'm making a month or whatever here, and, like, this is what I can afford to rent a month and whatnot, and I can just, like, hopefully find, like, a permanent place or whatever then. Or if nothing else, like, talk to the dude who was the realtor and see if he can't find me, like, something as, like, a rent to own at some point down the line or something like that, what it is. If it's like a 10, 20 year kind of thing or something like that, then, like, okay, cool. Like, I'll be there like 10, 20 years. That's what it is. Like a 1-2 bedroom or something like that, maybe, or something like that's what it is. So, I don't know. But yeah, it just kind of sucks, dude, to know that, like, I'm now 40 years old and, for the first time in my life, like, I'm not living in a home. I'm living in an apartment now is what it is. And I guess technically this would be the second time living in an apartment, but at the same time, like, the first time around, it wasn't really, like, a major issue just because of the fact that it was, like, I knew it was going to be, like, a not permanent situation there is what it was, whereas this one, it feels a lot more permanent than it should be is what it is, So, I don't know. It just kind of sucks, honestly, and yeah, it's just like, it's like, what was it all for, you know? So, like, it just feels like one of those situations where it's like, you know, you wish you had done things differently. You wish you had been able to have more time with somebody. Like, I don't know. I just feel like maybe it's just like the grief of not getting over mom's death yet is what it is. And it's just, I probably need to call my people and see if I can schedule a counseling session one of these days, because I feel like I need to talk to the counselor again is what it is, because I definitely need to do something, because it definitely feels like I just need to like vent some frustration out what it is there or something. So yeah, it just doesn't feel, I don't know, like it just feels kind of unreal, I guess is what it is. And then like knowing the people that are responsible for her death are never going to get held accountable unless like something major happens where I can actually assume political power at some point and make these fuckers pay, which I don't think is ever going to happen, unfortunately. So yeah, it just, I don't know. It's all just a fucking shit show, basically. It just sucks, dude. So yeah. I don't know. Like I said, it just feels kind of, it's like something needs to change, basically, is what it is. For the better. And just overall, you know, from my actual sanity, I guess is what it would be. So anymore, it almost feels like I'm living in like a weird dream state for the past several months now is what it is. So maybe we are living in a fucking Matrix reality, who the hell knows? But it's just like, you know, like what's even the point anymore? So I don't know. I know at some point I'll be going down to the farm though, what it is again, to do some more fishing, hopefully in the next week or two here. So we'll be doing that, my cousin and I, and then probably go later in the day is the way he was talking now. So that'll be cool. And then we can just do that and then, you know, do whatever it'll be. So catch a bunch of bluegill, a bunch of crappie, etc. Have a good old fashioned fry up like we used to. Could be fun. But anyway, moving on to the other topic of the day, which is the Trump Zelensky meeting there. Apparently, Zelensky finally showed up in the suit for once. How much money of America was taken for that piece of shit suit, man? Is my question from this BBC article here. It's not really a suit either. It's like just a weird, like, black outfit, essentially. Like, Trump is wearing a suit where it has an actual tie with it. This jackass is just wearing, like, a fucking black pants, black shirt, and a fucking coat. So, as the European leaders met with the White House for talks with Ukraine leader Vladimir Zelensky, who, by the way, would not even be in power right now if it wasn't for wartime powers there, and that's exactly why that cocksucker doesn't want this fucking war to end, is because he knows he'd be out of office immediately, and probably, most likely, most Ukrainians will want him dead at that point, is my guess. Just because of him literally conscripting their sons and husbands, etc., to the front lines and disabled, you know, literally Down syndrome children to the front lines there, because they did that with a couple of guys there as well, which, how is that not fucking war crimes at that point? And the crimes against humanity for that matter. So yeah, it said him and Trump were there. Says Trump says U.S. will give Ukraine very good protection, but remains uncommitted on whether that will guarantee will be led by NATO or could involve other American involvement. Yeah, fuck that, dude. Just let Ukraine fall already and be done with it, dude. Like, it was all fucking USSR at one point, dude. Just let Russia have it back. Fuck Zelensky. You know, kick his ass the fuck out of there is what it is. Have Putin take back whatever he wants there is what it is. Because and it's not even like letting Putin take it back either for that matter. It's basically you have people in Ukraine, like in what's considered Ukraine at this point, that actually want to be part of Russia. Like, it's those areas that is what Putin was going after to begin with, so it is there. Because it's all these people that are like, yes, we want to be Russia. So it's like, let them be fucking Russia, dude. Like, who gives a fuck? And everything else, like, you know, if it does lead to something else down the road, again, like, so be it, you know? So, I don't know. I'm just fucking over all of this, dude. Like, I'm just kind of sick and tired of everything right now is what it is. And I don't know. I feel like this is like the slowest slower one of World War III ever is what it is right now. So, like, it just feels very, like, iffy, I guess is the best way to describe it right now. Let's go see what Breitbart's saying about this whole thing. See, we got Trump arranging Zelensky-Putin meeting, predicts deal within weeks. Okay. POTUS calls Russian leader during talks with EU leaders. We got cargo ship explodes in Chesapeake Bay. Holy shit. Idiot James Comey calls himself a Swiftie, says her music helps him oppose Trump. Jesus fucking Christ. See, average American to get $3,752 tax cut due to big beautiful bill. Well, I'll believe that when I see it, honestly. So, let's see. Trump approval surges after meeting with Putin. So we got under military pressure, Hamas offers to accept what was that? Woodruff proposal? So Hamas reportedly offered to accept a ceasefire proposal first floated by U.S. Special Envoy Steve Woodruff 3 months ago that would see half of the remaining 20 living Israeli hostages released after the 60-day truce. Yeah, I feel like those people are not living, though, at this point, dude. I'm pretty sure that they're, like, dead or, like, pretty much on death's door is what it is there. So, yeah. Like, honestly, I'm just going to say it like it is, dude. Islam should have been a fucking sea of glass on 9/12/2001. Like, the entire Middle East should have been a fucking sea of glass then. What a big-ass Moab. So, let's see what else we got here. So you got Newsmax paying $67 million to settle defamation lawsuit with Dominion. Matthew Perry death. Ketamine queen drug dealer pleads guilty, faces 46 years in prison, or 45 years in prison. Wow. See, a woman known as the Ketamine Queen, charged with selling Matthew Perry the drug that killed him, agreed to plead guilty on Monday. Jasmine Sega became the fifth and final defendant charged with the overdose death of Friends actor Matthew Perry, striking a plea deal with federal prosecutors. Having initially pled not guilty, her change of plea means she'll avoid a trial that would have been planned for August. Prosecutors had cast her as a prolific drug dealer who was known to her customers as the Ketamine Queen, using the term often in press releases and court documents, and even holding it in the official court name of the case. Jesus. That's so sad, dude. For those who don't know what ketamine is, it's actually special. I believe it's Special K, and it's a horse tranquilizer, if I'm not mistaken. So, but yeah, it's sad to know that, like, Matthew Perry was, like, such an addict that he had to go that route, is what it is, dude. Which I know he talked about that in some interview on like ABC a few years before his death, is what it was, about how much, like how high he was on set, what it was there, and how he had to go like rehab all the time and stuff like that. So anyway, see, we got Disney's Marvel Studios abandoned Atlanta, Georgia for cheaper labor costs in Europe. Fucking scumbags. So I ended up watching that Vanessa Kirby movie that was not Fantastic Four. It was the one she did for Netflix. I think it was called like Always Comes Night or something like that. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. Like it was basically kind of meh. Like if you want to kill like 90 minutes of your time, like go ahead and watch it. If you don't want to do that, like you're fine either way, I think is what it is. Like I feel like it could have been better, honestly, than it was. Like it just kind of, like it felt like whoever, like, because it was supposed to be based on a book, I guess, and I don't know if the book ended the same way or not, but like it just kind of felt like it's like whoever was writing this like couldn't figure out an ending, and they're just like, okay, this is how we're gonna end it now, or whatever. So yeah, it just feels weird. Kathy Griffin joins a dating app. Jesus. Well, that is definitely from the 90s right there, when she was actually moderately attractive. Like the reality is like, this is what this crazy bitch is looking like now is what it is, dude. Like nowhere near as good looking as that glamour shot there is what it is. So I never liked Kathy Griffin. I remember this was way back in the day when she was part of Seinfeld for a couple episodes there. And I was like, that woman is so fucking annoying. Like, I legitimately do not like her is what it is. And I would even say, like, hate her at that point. And it's interesting that my autistic mind back then was able to kind of see, like, you know, like, yeah, this woman's a dipshit, basically. And then, yeah, it took everybody else, like, you know, so long to do that, what it is there. Oh, wow. This is an interesting story here. Let's talk about this for a minute right now. Illegal aliens arrested for stealing Saul palmetto berry crop in Florida. So 11 individuals, many of whom were illegal aliens, were arrested near Palm City, Florida, and charged with stealing 6,000 pounds of a local farmer's Saul palmetto berry crop. It's a hell of a thing to be charged with, dude. Like you're stealing berries. Like literal fucking berries. That's a shitload of berries, though, dude. 6,000 pounds. See, Martin County Sheriff's Department announced the arrest after being called by a local citizen who felt a group of men, all dressed in black, looked suspicious. Yeah, no shit, dude. They're all dressed in black. Like, that in of itself is pretty suspect, especially in, like, hot-ass Florida weather. See, as they toted buckets out of the grove filled with valuable berries. Really? Those are valuable? Huh. Interesting. So 2 of the alleged thieves are American, and the rest are Guatemalan. Yeah, shocker, dude. So 9 of 11 are Guatemalans. The other 2 are probably multi-time felon Americans, my guess would be. So during a press conference announced the arrest, Sheriff John Buckenstock noted that saw palmetto farming is a $150 million business in the area. Wow. That's a lot of money, dude. A lot of money. So the sheriff told the media that his deputies set up a surveillance post and recorded the illegals repeatedly walking out of the grove carrying buckets loaded with the berries and dumping them into a U-Haul trailer nearby. Quote, we knew that this was potentially an organized group of saw palmetto berry pickers from Immokalee, Florida. So the van was easy to spot. It was a U-Haul van. We have the tag, and we searched for a short period of time and located the van at a motel in the city of Stewart, the sheriff explained. Said these guys are smart. They know what they are doing. I mean, they got caught, dude, so probably not very smart, actually. So they got dropped off early In the morning, they hid in the bushes all day long, and they got picked up at dusk for the most part. Said they were slick and they knew what's on the line if they got arrested, the sheriff said. So that transfer process, like, that's the thing, right? You're coming there smart, but, like, you had some random citizen probably driving by and seeing, like, 11 guys in the fucking bushes, all dressed in black. Like, so they're really not that smart, dude. But anyway, it said the transfer process was halfway completed when we interrupted their transfer process and took 11 people into custody. This is something we've been dealing with for several years now, he said, noting that they calculated the theft at about 6,000 pounds of berries. The berries, which are sought after for the nutrition and health supplement industry, oh, okay, that's what it is, and used for medical purposes, can sell for between $1.35 to $4 per pound. Wow. That's a lot, dude. So yeah, so let's see, $4 per pound. So we got 6,000 pounds. That's like 24 grand. I think my math is right on that one. Or no, wait. 6. Yeah, 24,000. So like 10 to 24 grand. That's not even that much, dude, honestly. So, like, what are they each making, like a grand out of that? Or so, maybe 2 at most. Like, that's not a lot of money, dude. So, I don't know. Seems kind of, I don't know. Seems like you can make more money doing something else, honestly, as a thief. So, and let's see what else we got here. Trump joint meeting with EU leaders and Zelensky, push for trilateral meeting with Russia. Trump plays Zelensky White House outfit, meaning he was Trump in the suit. And I guarantee that fucking suit was all paid for by U.S. taxpayer money, dude. It's probably like $100,000 suit paid for by our fucking tax money is what it is. Bunch of bullshit is what it is, dude. Let's see what else we got here. Journalists to launch anti-communist film festival in D.C. ABC GMA promotes sex-swapped Broadway play. Abraham Lincoln is now a trans woman. Oh, good God. Pop star Jade, who I've never heard of until now, slams white, straight, privileged singers who don't push politics. Nobody knows who you are, cunt. Go fuck yourself. So we got dipshit Mark Hamill bitching and moaning. Helen Mirren talks about being a feminist. See, James Gunn, Peacemaker returns with John Cena and bisexual orgy. Jesus. I mean, to be fair, Zena's pretty gay anyway, so. Oh, then we got this one too as well. Legal alien trucker from India received CDL from California before killing 3 Americans. And I guess there was another one too that happened recently. I think it was the idiot from the U-Haul is what it was. So, yeah, it's just fucking ridiculous. Well, I mean, if you insist. I think we'll talk about the gravity-fed knife that was illegal here in Ohio until about 4 years ago. That goes like this. Yeah, that's a nice looking blade. I'm going to actually, this coming Friday, I'm going to go over to Wally World. I didn't realize that apparently, had I gone this past week, they would not probably have had those knives to sell, the new ones that they have out now, that Valor and the Sonder and stuff like that. Because apparently what people are saying now is they just came out this past Friday is what it was. So, and I guess there was like a limit of 2 per customers, what it is, which is a good thing, obviously, because you have I almost guarantee the reason they did that is because somebody would have gone up there and bought up like probably like 50 of them or something a piece, and then just turned around and like jack the price up and like tried to sell them for like 2 or 3 times the price that they actually cost is what it is there. So, yeah, I think I'm going to try to go up there and get 2 of the those access lock ones. So it'd be the Valor and then the Sonder ones. I don't think I'm going to get the other one because it's just, to me, like the other ones, it's not as good looking, I think. And for $25, like I just don't see the point of that when I could easily get like, a couple other knives for that same price point, honestly. But yeah, like I said, I do like my little gravity fed knife. Here's what it is. This thing, it does have a lot of weight to it though, and I can tell you right now, like if this was ever to a point now where it actually broke or whatever, like I could easily like see like just like beating somebody with the end of this is what it is, or even just taking it like that and just like kind of like just clubbing them is what it is in the head with it or something. Because there's enough weight behind this, you could definitely fuck somebody up with this thing is what it is, dude. Because like I said, it's basically like a whole like loaded gun mag. Just like knocking somebody in the head with one of those is what it is there. Yeah, so apparently I guess the way Ohio's laws work before knife rights came through in 2021, it was we had this weird like patchwork of stuff where we never had like an actual like statewide thing of like what we could do with our knives and stuff like that. So it was like this weird like patchwork of like, here's like 20 different counties that are cool with this. Here's like 20 different counties that are cool with that, etc. And so, as they were the people that were behind knife rights pointing out during the whole committee hearings for updating our laws from the 1950s, I think some of them were from the late 30s, early 40s, what it was there. So it was like anywhere from like the 40s to like the 50s or so was when all these like basically anti-greaser laws were put into place. I'll call it like that because that's what it basically was. It was like all the like old like greaser gangs of the 40s and 50s and stuff like that that were behind a lot of the reason why all this stuff was banned. And so you had like like brass knucks and like Citus, and it was like Citus, which is like some kind of like weird like loaded boxing glove kind of thing or something like that, was another thing that was banned. And like a bunch of this other stuff was all banned for like 70 something years now is what it was here in Ohio. And then finally we were able to get it like on ban is what it was. And that included stuff like gravity fed knives. That included stuff like switchblades and everything else for that matter. And like I said, now what's cool is that not only can I carry this if I wanted to, but I could also legitimately, if I wanted to EDC something else, like say, I don't know, this big old kind of K-bar knife right here. It's like, 9 or 10 inches there. I can legitimately carry this now is what it is, because it used to be, I think it was up to a 3-inch knife is what most of the patchwork laws were, whereas now it's any blade size, including swords. So, and I believe at that point, when they did it with us here in 2021, the Knife Rights group, it then also allowed for what was it now? Yeah, they not only like allowed it to have all that happens what it is, but there was also a guy here that was a knife maker who would have otherwise left the state and gone to, I think it was either Kentucky or it was like Tennessee or something he was planning on moving to, because all these stupid ass knife laws that were in place at the time from the 50s were basically harming his business, and he was trying to expand at that time. And because we changed the knife laws like 4 years ago, so it was now, he not only expanded his business, he actually like doubled his business what it was here for the people that he hired in the state of Ohio. And then also it was him being able to then expand the actual operation too, for that matter, and make like a whole other building as it was. People could, manufacture knives there as it was then too. And so, yeah, it basically kept like a good small business here in our state, and actually allowed that small business to actually grow quite a bit is what it was there. So, it's a big deal, honestly, on those kind of things. And I think that's the problem with a lot of politicians in our country, is they don't realize that, when you're restricting people's rights like that, you are basically hurting yourself long term as a state, because you're sitting there and you are how much I say now? Yeah, you're sitting there and you're denying people a lot of their constitutional God-given rights is what it is there. And I think for me personally, and other people for that matter that are, constitutionalists and 2A advocates and stuff like that, this is exactly why we fight is what it is. And this is exactly why I said the other day in a post I made there on Twitter that not only is Ohio Patriot Education Network a 2A rights organization, we are now a knife rights organization too, for that matter. Like, we're all about the blades now is what it is too. So if it comes to it where we need to do some other stuff here when it comes to knife laws and things, like, we're going to be advocating hard for like the continuation of not only having open carry of knives in this state, but we want concealed carry of knives in this state now is what it is. Where we can conceal carry knives, guns, etc. all at once is what it is there. Because there's absolutely no reason for us to have some stupid ass law in the books where you have to have a fucking pocket clip on your knife to put it in your pocket, and you can't just simply drop it in your fucking pocket or something like that, dude. So anyway, the reason I bring it up, obviously, is because Letitia Humphreys, who is one of the idiot minorities in the General Assembly right now, she's also a Democrat, who only is in power currently because of the bullshit-ass 11 districts that exist in Franklin County there, where she can have literally no primary challenges and simply want to win a one-horse race where all she has to do is basically put her name on the ballot and she wins. And the same thing basically with the general election too. Like, there's almost no chance that anybody's ever going to beat her in that general election because it's so hard Democrat gerrymanders what it is down there, that she basically recently tried to put some bullshit legislation through, which has been introduced, but I don't think it's ever going to go anywhere, hopefully, thankfully, because Republicans do have majority here is what it is. And I don't know if we are in the process right now as a... I think it might be something where she got it in time to where it has to be held as like a first hearing at some point down the line next year or so. But it's not going to be an issue, basically. And I think it'll get like a first hearing and it'll just die in committee after that's what it is or whatever, which is what's happened with a lot of anti-gun shit too, for that matter. That's why Democrats like to push it in pretty early on is what it is, because that way it has to get like a first hearing or whatever. But the Republicans know for a fact, like, yeah, it's never getting a second hearing or third hearing or anything else for that matter, never getting a floor vote and all that shit. So, but yeah, basically what Letitia's trying to do now is to allow major cities in the state to have local authority to basically stop our gun rights and our knife rights. So it's like, yeah, not only do Democrats hate guns, they hate knives now too, apparently. So it's like, how about y'all just fuck off, dude? Seriously, for real. Like, you guys are 100% the problem here is what it is, dude. Like, just fuck off, go away, go to prison where y'all belong for deprivation of law, and we'll all be fine after that's what it is. So that's what it was right there. Yeah, gravity fell with switchblades. So, which I can kind of, I mean, I guess I kind of understand, because I know with like a switchblade, it like, you know, kind of just pops out, and like kind of the same thing with the gravity fed, like kind of slide out basically. So I can see how it got lumped in like that, but like at the same time, it's two different things too, for that matter. Because even if I hold, like, that's the thing, if I hold it down, it can do that. But then if I have it like that, I still have to like push the button up to let it go up, is what it is. So yeah, it's just kind of stupid, honestly. But I don't know. It just seems kind of ridiculous, is what it is. Well, apparently Trump is doing an executive order to outlaw mail-in ballots now. I don't know how I feel about that one, dude, because there are some people out there that do legitimately do mail-in ballots. So I'm going to read what this says here. That's what it is. Real quick. Let's see here. President Trump released True Social Statement Monday morning announcing he will sign executive order outlawing mail-in ballots nationwide, also targeting the easily manipulated voting machines that leave no paper trail to back them up. In the post, he said, quote, "I am going to lead a movement to get rid of mail-in ballots, and also, while we're at it, highly incorrect, very expensive, seriously controversial voting machines," wrote the president. So Trump added that the machines cost 10 times more than accurate and certified watermark paper, which is faster and leaves no doubt at the end of the evening as to who won and who lost the election. So we are now the only country in the world that uses mail-in voting. All others give it up because of the massive voter fraud encountered. We will begin this effort, which will be strongly opposed by the Democrats because they cheat at levels never before seen by signing this consecutive order to help bring honesty to the 2026 midterm elections. So at first it sounded ridiculous. The Constitution clearly gives each state the right to manage its own elections. That Trump's executive order can only be worth paper it's printed on, correct? Not exactly. First off, even after more than a decade of proving he can do what many considered impossible, starting with forcing Obama to cough up his birth certificate, people still underestimate Trump. Says Roe versus Wade, etc. So, I don't know. I feel like there's going to be a lot of lawsuits to come out of that whole thing as it is, dude. And like I said, I don't know. Like, the issue I have there is, like, at least here in Ohio anyway, like, we have mail-in ballots, but you have to have, like, your driver's license number, and I believe you actually have to put, like, a legit, like, you have to take, like, a photo and, like, do, like, a photocopy of your ID is what it is basically on the damn thing to send it in there. Like, the problem I have, though, is the ones like California that don't require any of that shit. It doesn't require, like, signatures to be on there is what it is. And that's exactly why Democrats have stolen California elections for decades now. And that's exactly why I've said many, many times that when it comes to California, and also New York for that matter, and a bunch of other Democrat-run states like that, none of these states should even have fair representation at all going forward right now because they're all a bunch of cheaters, dude. They're all in power through massive voter fraud is what it is, dude. Like, seriously, look at Michigan. You got Whitmer as the unelected governor there. You got Nissel, who is the unelected AG there, and you got Benson, who's the unelected Secretary of State there. And that's just three major fucking seats there in Michigan that are all being illegally held by a bunch of Democrats that stole elections, dude. And then you add in, California with Newsom, you add in Oregon, you add in Washington State, you add in New York with Hunkel a bunch of times now, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, you realize how Democrats can steal elections like crazy, dude. Like, I would guarantee you right now, there is at least 15 sitting Democrat governors right now that are illegally in office currently through massive voter fraud. And I guarantee there's at least one Rhino, too, for that matter, that did the same exact thing. So, I'm not going to say who that one is, but you guys should know by now what it is. But now, for real, though, like, it's fucking ridiculous, dude. Like, whether it be Kentucky, whether it be North Carolina, whether it be Maine, whether it be Oregon, Washington State, California, New York, New Jersey, Michigan, Maryland, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, et cetera, dude. Like, it's all a bunch of cheater-ass Democrats in power right now. Colorado's another great example of that one. You have Wisconsin is another great one. Not only did they, steal the election for fucking Tony Evers up there, they also stole at least one or two Supreme Court seats up there as well, too, for that matter, in those elections. So, but anyway. But yeah, I'm just kind of sick and tired of all of it, what it is, man. So, but really, I just want to come on here for a little bit and just, like I said, talk about what's going on with the house and everything like that, dude. Then, of course, you got you got dipshit Vivek talking. I don't know. I might cut on that one. Yeah, you got dipshit Vivek talking about fucking education and like the threat of our education and stuff like that. And trying, okay, you Chi-Com fuckboy, why don't you go fuck off to China? That's what it is. Like, seriously, like, stop comparing America to a communist hellhole, dude. For real. Like, we're not going to be fucking China. We're not going to be some fucking surveillance state bullshit, dude. We're not going to send our kids to fucking school for 15 hours a fucking day to where they sleep in a fucking chair literally at the school and then get up and do a bunch of math after that is what it is. So, You're nuts, buddy. But yeah, the fact that he's like trying to say that that's like the education system is like the biggest threat right now in like the next couple of decades. It's like, no, dude, Islamic terrorism and literally Chinese bioweapons are the biggest threat currently and going forward for that matter. And I would also say the fact that China owns our fucking farmland is a bigger threat than fucking education is, dumbass. So, I don't know. Like, I really want Vivek out of this fucking race is what it is, dude. And I really want somebody else to jump in that governor's race immediately and just primary this fucking moron come next May is what it is there. So, and then for those that haven't heard, because I mentioned it last night on Honda's channel, like, I don't know if I mentioned it on last night's Grandstand either or not, but yeah, there was some fucking Indian group that literally raised an Indian flag above the Ohio State House on Friday is what it was. And yet nobody in power seems to give a fuck about that either. It's like, dude, like, enough is enough of this shit. Like, enough is enough of allowing conquered land crap going on in our country right now. By these fucking third world fucks is what it is. Kick them the fuck out. And then, of course, you had dumbass rhino congressman from Tennessee, Tim Burchett, I think that's how you pronounce the guy's name, or something like that. There is apparently an India Fest in Tennessee now every year. And it's like, how is there enough of an Indian population in the state of Tennessee for there to ever be an India Fest on U.S. soil at all, dude? Like, it's just fucking ridiculous, dude. I hope not. I hope not, man. So, because the thing is, he's not doing shit about it, this dude. Like, and that's the thing. Like, if you're trying to run for a governor's race, dude, like, how the fuck are you not going to call out black on white hate crimes in your state, and especially the place you consider to be your home city? Like, the fact you're not even want to call it out by name, like, and you're going to sit there and tell me you're going to be a sitting governor in a year or so, like, get the fuck out of here, bro. So, it's just insanity is what it is. And like I said, I'm so fucking over all of it, dude. I don't want to see my state become a fucking hellhole like California is, and I feel like that's what will happen to Vivek's ass. So, I'm not saying we don't need like innovation and jobs and stuff, but the way that he's going about it and talking about it, like, it would be the way to ruin the state completely is what it is, dude. Like, we don't need to frack the fucking state. We need to actually have, like, manufacturing again. Here's what it is. Like, and again, you could have everything like there in DeWine. That's another thing that bothers me about Vivek, too, for the matter, is he's bitching about property taxes here and, like, limiting property tax. And it's like, dude, the current General Assembly that already is in power is doing that right now. You have nothing to do with that at all, jackass. Like, that's all literally people like Brian Stewart, people like Tex Fisher, etc., doing that stuff under Mike DeWine. Like, that's all DeWine's administration for the next year, what it is there that's doing that shit. That's not the Vivek Ramaswamy governor's administration thing. That's all the previous administration is what it is. Like, you're not going to take credit for jack shit, dude. You're not doing jack shit. So, it's like even that stupid-ass town hall Vivek did in Cincinnati there, he basically stopped people from actually calling out the fucking racism going on in the state is what it is there, dude. And again, why would you do that? Maybe because you don't think you're going to get the black vote is what it is then. Unless you keep your mouth shut about black and white hate crimes in the state. Which is why you have no business being in the fucking race at all, being with is what it is there. So. I don't know, I'm just fucking done with all of it, dude, what it is. But yeah, going to talk about Vivek for a minute there. You got this idiotic post here is what it is from 11 hours ago. Our education system fosters victimhood, entitlement, and self-doubt instead of advancement, virtue, and fortitude. Math, reading, writing, science, PE, and physics, or civics, should be the focus. This is the true education reform instead of a silly accounting debate over more versus less funding. Yeah, except for the fact that you literally, and I find it hilarious that he brings in civics in that one, given that the motherfucker admitted to being an anchor baby like 2.5 to 3 months ago. So, and again, if you go back in time into my thing here for this account here on YouTube, man, you can see that I, under the network, was like the first person to actually endorse Vivek under the very, very scrutinized trying to think. I'm sorry, my mind is blanking out right now. Yeah, I did it under the very tutelage and scrutiny thing of, hey, if something ever happens where this dude basically is proven to be a sellout, I'm going to call him out. I'm going to literally rescind that endorsement. That's exactly what I did when I found out about him being a nigger baby. So, then you also got scumbag Sherrod Brown trying to come back into the U.S. Senate race now is what it is. So, you got idiot Frank LaRose talking about John Husted. Ohioans overwhelmingly reject Sherrod Brown and his radical policies. They want a proven leader like John Husted who will move Ohio forward. No, we actually want a new person in power completely. Either one of these fucking idiots is what it is. In fact, you guys are going to see this real time. John, once and for all, investigate the 2018 midterms that prove uncommitted voter fraud back then to stay in power until 2024. So don't want Rhino Husted there. Yeah. So it's like fucking both, dude, for real. Like I want a brand new person on there, dude, that's not a corrupt piece of shit already is what it is. So. I would love to know what state this woman lived in before all this, because apparently, according to this Wall Street Apes post, America on EBT food stamps confirms new restrictions are starting to take effect. She was not allowed to buy pre-baked goods like these croissants. When they wanted to be Betty Crocker. Like, what state were you able to buy those in before this? Well, actually, now that I think about that, would that also affect like the dollar French bread at Walmart or something like that? Then, because that would be like a pre-baked item. That would be kind of fucked up, though, if that is the case, dude. So, I don't know. I feel like that is kind of not cool, honestly. I can see not buying like how much I say it's like hot foods basically, because I know that like I think it's California and like one or two other states allow that right now. But yeah, I could see that being like restricted on there just because you don't want people going to like fast food joints and buying like fast food stuff. But that is kind of messed up actually a little bit on that one. I mean, I guess I could understand it because maybe it's a situation of, because if that goes to the RFK like making America healthy again agenda things what it is there, it could be a situation too where because those specific croissants and stuff like that have like a million fucking things in them or whatever, it could easily be that kind of situation where you just don't want to have people have like a bunch of additives and stuff like that in their systems a little bit is there to make them, overweight and have like health issues and stuff like that. So let's see what else is here. This woman also says she couldn't get pre-made chicken, muffins, TV dinners or items like soda. They want you to be Betty Crocker and make your own food. Welcome to the real world. Like seriously, lady. It's not that hard to cook food, by the way. People like myself have been doing it for years, woman. Jesus Christ, dude. Speaking of reasons why I hate Islam, and not anybody out of our fucking country, we got the good old Omar Fatigue. And some radical bitch in a fucking Haji meat bitching him on about stuff. Political rally in America 2025. Why the fuck are these third world trashing in our country, dude? For real? They're not Americans and never will be Americans. They're literally fucking Islamic terrorists, dude. Boot them the fuck out of this country for good. Be done with it. And I would say the same thing about every other fucking anti-American and stuff like that. Like, if you're not going to actually assimilate and embrace America for what it is and want to melt into the melting pot, then get the fuck out, dude, for real. Or you'll be kicked the fuck out, is what it is. So. Speaking of AGs in different states, or I guess in this case it would be assistant AG, you have full body cam footage released of Rhode Island Special Assistant AG Devin Flanagan and her friend being arrested for trespassing. It says Flanagan was seen getting a police car door shut in her face after she and her friends mentioned about 20 times that she is an AG. Said Flanagan is now facing charges of willful trespass, disorderly conduct, and resisting arrest. She has reportedly worked in the Attorney General's office for about 7 years. Footage is a masterpiece. See, that's the problem when they tell Democrats like that. I think they can do whatever the fuck they want and get away with it. And it's like, nah, bitch. Like, you're literally learning that nobody's above the law, especially not your ass. So, anyway. So apparently we're officially in civil war now, I guess, according to this chick. Good enough. Good enough. I will say I was watching this show last night. It was some like Hulu original about like all these people that were supposed to be like virgins going to an island to like meet their, you know, like somebody and like lose their virginity, basically is what it is there. And it's funny because they're like, oh yeah, like the hottest virgin they could find. It's like literally like nobody in that group was over a 6 at best. Like they're all like basically 3s and 4s, and then maybe like a couple 5s and 6s. So it's like, really, that's the best looking you can find, man. Damn, like that's pretty pathetic, honestly. So quite pathetic, actually. We got another part of the police footage here that was a drunk Dem appointed Rhode Island Assistant AG. I'm an AG. I'm an AG. Officer, good for you. I don't give a shit. That's funny. That is too good, man. Wow. Yeah, then we got other people. Let's see if I can pull this up real quick here. Got this post here, which is congratulations to the newest CDL drivers that California completed their certification without even speaking English or being citizens of the country. Again, kick these fucking Indians back to India so they don't kill American citizens, but they're fucking bullshit ass third world driving, dude. So so I'm not going to show this one, but we'll repost this one. It's 2 small children doing 2A drills. She's like two small black girls doing 2A drills, and the caption here was, "Conservatives, does this video of two black girls practicing 2A offend you?" I would say it's more offensive the fact that in the first one, when they're off to the side, it looks like the one's pointing the gun at the other's head. So maybe, I don't know, have a bigger room to do those practice drills in, so it doesn't look like you're pointing guns at people's heads. But that's just me personally. So anyway. Like, honestly, if you want to be an advocate, if you want to be a gun owner, that's cool, man. You know, just do it right. You know, don't be a fucking piece of shit criminal stealing other people's guns is what it is. So, for those who don't know, currently, black women are the biggest rising group of gunners in this country right now, and it's specifically because of the fact that they are living in a lot of ghettos and have to deal with a bunch of the, you know, YNs of these ghettos and have to deal with self-defense shootings and stuff like that. What it is there. So, but anyway, and it's just kind of sad to think that, you know, you got to buy a gun just to protect yourself because you're forced to live in some shithole ghetto is what it is there. But anyway, on that note, though, I think that's what we're going to call it a day on. I'm going to go to the bathroom, so I'm going to go do that, and I think I'm going to check out a few things here, is what it is, and see what's going on there, is what it is. Oh, apparently had AWOL Texas Democrats for moving, or going back to Texas now, is what it is. Yep, get the redistricting done already, is what it is there, buddy. So, oh my God. So I'm going to go ahead and repost this one. You guys can watch it later. It was the Clown World video where it says 2 influencers were struck by a car during a restaurant review shoot. Yeah, they were literally just like eating a bunch of stuff at a restaurant camera for their social media channels and stuff like that, and the car just randomly hit the fucking thing is what it is. Crazy stuff, man. So, crazy shit for sure. Oh, and you had Crack Whore Crockett talking again about some fucking nonsense. I think people said she's about to be out of Congress. Well, I mean, she has about 15 months left, dude, is what it is, so more than a year now. Unfortunately, it should be literally about 15 seconds is what it is, because you should be kicked out already is what it is now. So, if Texas Republicans actually had the balls to do it, they would already boot her fucking ass out now is what it is. No. Oh, apparently the good old government psyop of Blood Tribe is back again, this time in Indianapolis, Indiana, doing a little Nazi march. Those who don't know, those are the same guys that make up Patriot Front. There are also a lot of Ukrainian Azov battalion guys that are actual Nazis, is what it is. So, give her a moment. So, cosplay is Patriot Front. Alright. But yeah, on that note, though, I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. I'm not sure if that was my neighbor leaving his apartment or what was going on there, because I don't think there's a notification on my phone at all. Because I got the Ring doorbell camera up now, so... Or, sorry, not Ring doorbell. It's a Blink doorbell camera. So, which I'm probably have to do a subscription on pretty soon to get a decent live feed going on it now. Which kind of sucks on that aspect of things, but it is what it is, man. So, Anyways, I will be back. I'm not exactly sure when yet. Probably not until at least, I would say, Wednesday or so. Maybe Friday. I'm not sure yet. But I'll be back on Honda. If Honda does a chat tomorrow night, though, I will be on his chat for 2A. Tuesday is what it is there. But if he doesn't, then it won't be till probably at least Wednesday, Thursday. Could be Friday, depending. It all depends on exactly when I can get those. Hit up the Walmart and get them knives and stuff like that, because they want to do a review on that those two Axis lock knives, the Valor and then the Sonder ones. So if I can do that, it'll be probably part of Freedom Friday, and then I'll have a few other blades I'm going to review too at that time. And if I can't get out there and do that, then I'll just do the review of the other stuff I got coming in from Amazon this week. So, but yeah, other than that, I think that'll probably most likely be the last knives I'll do reviews on for the year, is what it is, until like November, because I really gotta stop buying stuff, is what it is, because I realized my things were not as they should be, is what it is there. So I don't want to keep blowing through money, is what it is right now that I don't really have. So, but anyway, but yeah, so I'm definitely gonna do a review on those things, and I will simply go about it after that, is what it is, and hopefully we can get a decent couple decent things done this week, is what it is. And then, like I said, it'll basically be probably November whenever they drop the like Black Friday-esque deals of knives and stuff like that, and I'll go over there again then and get a bunch of Walmart stuff, is what it is then. So if they have a bunch of the little like $5, $7 knives like they had before, is what it is there, I'll probably pick up a few of those, is what it is there. Actually, I know the one that they had last year that was a little Tonta blade that I liked a lot, that I was carrying for almost a year, is what it is there. Well, I guess tell me not a year, about 6-8 months is what it was, is my EDC. That one specifically, I know I paid $5 for it last November there, and I was looking at Walmart's website last time I was looking for other stuff, and they have that same blade, but it's like a different set of scales on it. So instead of being black, it's either like grayish or like tannish coloration on it, but it's like an $8 knife now, is what it is. So is it worth $8? I mean, probably, actually, yeah. Would I pay $8 for it when I know I paid $5 for it before? No, I would not. So, but if you don't have that knife and you want one and you want that coloration, like, it's worth the $8, honestly. So, but yeah, other than that, though, that's where I'm at for the day. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace out. Stay safe. Always be carrying. Always have a decent EDC setup. Gun, knife, pepper spray, flashlight, etc. Because you never know what you're going to need, when you're going to need it. And you should always make sure to have a window breaker on anything that you have with you, just because you never know if you're going to need to be helping somebody out of a vehicle that may be crashed, and you might need to have a window breaker to bust up in a window or something. So, yeah, always good to have something there. So whether it be a window breaker and a knife, or whether it just be like a multi-tool with a window breaker on it, or whether it just be like a window breaker piece thing in general is what it is. You know, always have something like that's what it is there. And like I said, flashlight's always a good thing to have to, you know, if you're going to be the first person on the scene or whatever, you can check people's vitals and shit like that before the EMTs even get there, potentially. So, anyway, other than that, that's where I'll be at for the day. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Later, y'all.